Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Progress. With number 9 in the series Tactics, we all like a good checkmate, don't we? The 3 positions I'm going to show you came from an article from Pascal Losekoot in the Dutch magazine Schaakmagazine, and it is all about checkmate or not. One of the sides is threatening checkmate, and you have to find out if it is a checkmate or if the other side can prevent the checkmate. Let's go to the first one. In this position, white threatens checkmate with queen h6 to g7. And is there anything that black can do to prevent that? If you want to look for yourself, put the video on hold. I'll give the solution now. Yes, there is something that black can do. The saving move here is rook e4 takes the pawn on h4. It's check, so there is no time for queen g7 checkmate. And it is also a fork. Both king and queen are attacked. So the only move that white has is to take the rook. But then black has time to take the rook on f1 because there's no immediate checkmate threat anymore. We have an equal endgame, equal pawns in a queen endgame, and the move queen h6 to set up that checkmate threat again does not work because the black queen is covering the f6 square. So after queen h6, queen takes f6 is actually black who is better. So the starting position looked quite hopeless. There was no way black could cover the g7 square, but with rook takes h4 the problem is solved and we have an equal position. Let's go to the next one. This is a more complex position, a lot more pieces on the board, and again it looks very difficult for black. There is a queen takes h7 checkmate threat. And is that indeed checkmate, or can black do something to prevent it? I'll give the solution now. Let's have a look at what black can do. There's a way to protect the h7 square. For example, knight f8. And there's no queen takes h7 checkmate. But then there is rook takes h7 check. And you have to take. And then suddenly we find out there is another checkmate on g7. Queen g7 is checkmate. So knight f8 does not work. And that also answers why knight takes g7. Taking that rook does not work, because then queen takes g7 is checkmate. Back to the starting position. Knight g5 to cover the h7 square doesn't work either, for the same reason. Rook takes h7 check. Knight takes and queen g7 is checkmate. What about a move like rook h3? That also covers the h7 square. Well, not really. Unfortunately, there is rook takes h7 check, king g8, and then rook h8 is checkmate. So that doesn't work either. So it looks like there's nothing black can do against this combined threat of queen h7 checkmate, or otherwise checkmate on the g7 square. Well, there is a solution. Black can play queen a5 to f5, covering the h7 square. Looks like a very weird move, because what happens if we just take that queen? Well, if we do, then we suddenly see that black also has a threat. Because there's a checkmate in 1. Rook f1 is checkmate. And rook takes h7 check worked in some earlier variations, but does not work here because the queen will take back and there's no checkmate on g7 because the black queen will cover that square. In fact, after queen f5 it is black who is winning. He's threatening bishop takes e4, and you can look for yourself, but the computer is on -7. Black has a winning position here. Very surprising move, queen a5 to f5, solving all black's problems. Let's look at the last one. In this position, white plays knight g4 to f6 check. And it looks like there is a forced checkmate. After king h8, queen takes h7 is checkmate. So we cannot play king h8. But the alternative, knight takes f6, also looks horrible, because there's e takes f6, and now there is a unstoppable checkmate threat on g7? Or is there still a way out? I'll give the solution now. There still is a way out for black. Not by playing rook h2 check, because then the king goes to g4, and after another check, for example bishop f5, there is king g5. The king is safe there. I mean, there are no more checks, and queen g7 checkmate is unstoppable. But there is another way, there's another check black can give, and that is after e takes f6, the move bishop f5 check. And that suddenly leads to mate in 2. g4 is the only legal move, and bishop takes g4 is checkmate. Yes, white had a checkmate threat on g7, but black was quicker in checkmating the white king. Very nice. Hope you enjoyed these 3 examples. So if your opponent has a checkmate threat, don't resign too early. Always check if there's a way to get out of it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess2 Progress channel. Please leave a comment, and if you like it, it would be great if you could share the video on social media. You also may want to check out my Chess2 Impress channel. The link is in the description box, as well as a link to the other tactics videos that I made for Chess to Progress. This is Rick. Thank you for watching.